Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala gives us a picture of some type of people that have such bad behavior so we can avoid it. This is in Surah Al-Hajj, chapter 22 and verse 8. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن الناس من يجادل في الله بغير علم ولا هدى ولا كتاب منير. And of the people is he who disputes about Allah without knowledge or guidance or an enlightening book. Now, some people love to dispute. They love to argue. I mean, if you argue and you have, the facts, that's one thing. But some people like to argue and they don't have the facts. They just, they wing it. So the verse criticizes the ones who would argue about matters of faith without having three prerequisites. The first one, ilm, knowledge. You have to have worldly knowledge, things commonly known, like common sense, things you know for a fact, like 1 + 1 = 2, things that don't need any proof. You have to have knowledge. And huda is logic, thought process, to kind of go from hypothesis to results in a structured way. And al-kitab al-munir is Allah's revelation and the authentic sunnah. So you have to have common sense, you have to have knowledge, and you have to have proof and knowledge of the Quran and Sunnah. Now you can argue about matters of faith. So the one who wants to argue without these three requisites is an ignorant person. If you have to go and challenge a doctor, let's say, your doctor said, you should do X, Y, Z. If you want to argue with a doctor, he will not engage you unless you have the same amount of knowledge that he has. Like, who are you to question me? Are you also a doctor? Okay, now we can have an argument. So knowledge is a prerequisite for credibility before you engage anyone. And you have to have supporting evidence, either scientific, logical, or from Quran and Sunnah, or all three. Now, for example, are drugs forbidden? You go into the Quran, it talks about khamr, talks about wine. There is no mention of drugs. So are drugs, forbidden or what? So we can support the argument that they're forbidden in, three ways. One is from a trusted source, from Quran and Sunnah. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, in verse 90, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ رِجْسٌ مِّنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. O you have believed, indeed intoxicants, gambling, sacrificing on stone altars, and divining arrows are but defilement from the work of Satan. So avoid it that you may be successful. Now, some ignorant people think that avoid it means it's like a suggestion. Avoidance is the strictest form of forbidden. Don't even come near it. Let alone don't do it. Don't even come near it. That's what avoid, ifajtanibu. It's very strict on avoidance. From Sahih Muslim, let's take the Sunnah. From Sahih Muslim, Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu narrated that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, كل مسكر خمر وكل مسكر حرام. Every intoxicant is khamr, is wine, and every intoxicant is prohibited. So the logical proof, the Quran only mentions wine as an intoxicant, but using logic, why was, khamr forbidden? Because it intoxicates the mind. The person does not know what they're doing. There's no telling what they're going to do. And Allah does not want His best creation to behave like animals. You have to be in full control of your mind. So the forbidden is for the intoxication part. The vehicle of intoxication, it doesn't matter. Whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, whatever it is, by using logic, it's forbidden. And that's how the scholars they take a verse and then they use that to arrive at something new that wasn't available at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So drugs have the same effect as wine. That's known. Now, if you look at established facts, scientific studies, they confirm that, the harmful effect of drugs and their effect on the physiology. So the conclusion, every matter that affects the brain the same way as wine is prohibited by extension. That's how you go from you argue a point that is maybe not spelled out. So one must be knowledgeable and wise when engaging others in debate. When debating believers, Quran and Sunnah are the best arguments to have. You have a common framework, Quran and Sunnah, and authentic Sunnah. When debating non-Muslims, you have to use science and logic. You quote them something from the Quran, they don't care. They're not going to listen. And you talk to them about, proof of, you deal with them with subjects like angels and the hereafter. These are matters of faith. If you don't have faith, you have no proof other than what Allah told you. And they don't recognize the Quran and Allah's revelation to begin with. So you do not engage non-Muslims with Quran and Sunnah. You engage them with knowledge and logic. So wisdom and knowledge are required, again, when engaging others. So so only debate things that you have firm knowledge on. And a lot of people, they want to give an answer. Somebody says, is this haram, is this haram? And they just, it's like, it's haram or it's not haram. You have to be very careful when you use the word haram or halal. Because if you were wrong and you're talking not from knowledge, now you're making something that Allah made unlawful, or vice versa. This is a very dangerous situation that people just lightly give their opinion. Who the heck are you to give an opinion on matters like that? There is Quran and Sunnah, and that's it. And the ulama takes those and they take the rules out of it. It's not a matter of my opinion or anybody's opinion. You have to be knowledgeable of the subject, very deep knowledge. Then you can, argue about it. And there are 3 types of people you must not argue with. You waste your time. Do not argue with these 3 types. Do not engage an ignorant person. An idiot that has no knowledge, you waste your breath and you will never beat them. They will always beat you. Because you use logic on them, you use anything. They don't, they think, and there's a lot of them in this country. Do not engage people like that. The second type is you do not engage a powerful person. A powerful person will stick to their opinion and will not budge, and they will fight you over it. So if they are not willing to listen, disengage. Just leave them alone. The third type is do not engage somebody who is benefiting from his behavior. If they are benefiting from it, do not engage them because you're not going to change their mind. And there's a wonderful story that I was listening to one of the tapes. A poor man used to have a donkey and used to, kind of rent it, work it and stuff and have an income from it. The donkey died and the person was like, what am I going to do now? I have nothing to support me. So he got the idea. I'm going to bury him. I'm going to build 4 walls and a nice green qubba on it and name it as the tombstone of Wali XYZ. So, he made that and people started coming in and doing pilgrimage and leaving gifts and he got rich and he got wealthy over it. Do you think you're going to convince him that there's a donkey buried in that grave? He'll fight you over it. He knows the truth. He buried it himself, but he will fight you till the end to tell you there is a wali in there, not a donkey. You're the donkey. If you fight him, that's what's going to happen. So somebody who is benefiting from their lies or benefiting from something, do not engage them. You will not win. So it's best to save time and dignity and not engage these types of people. If you present the truth to them, if they don't want to take it, all you have to do is deliver. You're not responsible for their guidance. And in Surah Al-A'raf, in chapter 7, verse 33, قُلْ إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ رَبِّيَ الْفَوَاحِشَ وَمَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَمَا بَطَنَ وَالْإِثْمَ وَالْبَغْيَ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ وَأَن تُشْرِكُوا بِاللَّهِ مَا لَمْ يُنَزِّلْ بِهِ سُلْطَانًا وَأَن تَقُولُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Allah gives us in this verse major sins, and He starts with the lesser, and it goes up and up to the more serious, more serious. So the first one, say, my Lord has only forbidden immoralities. So I got more immoralities. What is apparent of them and what is concealed. And sin and oppression without right. And you associate someone with Allah, that for which He has not sent down authority. And the last one, which is the most serious, and that you say about Allah that which you do not know. That is the biggest sin you can do, with this verse. So that's the prohibition, is do not give a fatwa, because that's when you give your opinion, that's what you're doing. Do not give a fatwa about a religious matter if you have no knowledge and nothing, no idea. You're just kind of winging it. It's very serious. So, and one can do a lot of damage. Now imagine if you were misinterpreting a verse and you go to talk to non-believers, and you can do a lot of damage to the faith, because they're going to see the Muslim, he said that. He's a Muslim, and he's saying that. So do not do that. It is perfectly fine. Actually, it shows knowledge when you say, I don't know. If you don't know, I say, I don't know. There is no shame in it. Actually, it shows knowledge. There's a lot of scholars, when they were asked, they would say, I don't know. And they would tell them, if you don't know, who's going to know? He does not know it well enough to give his opinion. And we need to practice. If we don't know something very well, say, I don't know. Point them to somebody who knows. I have a lot of people come and ask me about things like, go talk to Maulana. Talk to somebody more knowledgeable. I am not at the level that I can give you a fatwa. You need to go talk to somebody who's mufti, who has spent a lot of years studying the jurisprudence. And, they probably will keep deferring you until you reach somebody who knows. So knowledge needs time and effort to develop. And we must develop it to protect ourselves and our family, especially in this disbelieving environment. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.